Hello and welcome to an easy salsa recipe. We have some basic ingredients. We're going to start with 4 tomatoes, 1/4 of an onion, about, a clove of garlic, a juice from 1 lime, and then usually we like to add 1 pepper. I'm going to add this jalapeno because it's very mild, so that'll be fine, but we also have some optional ingredients here that will really add to the flavor. We have some hot sauce. For those of you who enjoy the heat, you either put some more jalapenos or some hot sauce in there. We have kale greens. We have cilantro, which you either love or you hate. So if you love it, throw it in there. It's great for you. Removes heavy metals from the body. If not, then whatever, it's fine. And some scallions. Also, you can add whatever kind of peppers you like. You can substitute tomatillos instead of tomatoes, but essentially it's whatever floats your boat. So we're going to start with these ingredients and get started. So what I'd like to talk about first is how you mix it up. I have this awesome little tool. You can find this at Williams-Sonoma. I think it's like 20 bucks or maybe 30, but it is so worth it. Basically it's just a little Roboku, a little food processor, and it works on hand power. So all you have to do is pull this ring like a lawnmower and the blade turns. And the more you pull it, the smaller the cut, and I just love this. It's awesome for making salsa or like guacamole or hummus or whatever you're making. So you can use this. You can use a blender and just pulse it, so you kind of on and off really quickly so that you get out of rough chop. Or you can just chop this all by hand. Any of these options are going to work. I'm going to use this today. And we're going to start with the tomatoes. I like to use plum tomatoes. They just have a really nice flavor versus weight. So if you get a beefsteak, it's going to be a little bit mealy, and it's not going to have as much flavor. If you use anything smaller, you might just be wasting time preparing it. So I'm just going to cut all of these into a large dice. Just like this. Very rough because we're going to kind of blend it all together. Again, if you do this by hand, you can decide the size yourself. But if you're going to blend it, then it doesn't really matter, just as long as everything starts at the same size. So I'm going to cut through all of these really quick. Okay, all 4 tomatoes are cut up, and they're taking up a little bit of room in there, so I'm just gonna chop them up. Or awesome machine, awesome machine. There we go. Okay. Now for the onion, we do the exact same thing. Okay, so now we have our onion and our tomato. For things like the pepper and the garlic, I just cut things up really small because the blender is not going to disperse things that are really flavorful like garlic or like a hot pepper. As well, you're gonna get chunks in there if you try to do the same thing. So just do a mince. Just like run through it with your knife, a whole bunch. And if you are dealing with really hot peppers, just be aware that the oils will get on your hands, and it's pretty common knowledge, but if you don't know, just do not touch your face after you've touched a hot pepper. So you want them in very small pieces. And for the garlic, peel off that skin. Done. What I like to do with garlic is cut a flat side like that. And then when you have that flat side, you can keep it on that flat side and then cut the rest into thin kind of wafers. And the beauty of cutting the garlic into wafers is that you now have all these flat pieces and they're not going to go jumping everywhere when you try and chop them. They're just going to stay there. And then you can proceed to run through it until it has been minced. Now for the greens. If I didn't put this in there, my girlfriend would yell at me, so we're going to put in some cilantro. The stems, I keep the stems in there just because that's more goodness to eat, you know? It's just more good food. I'll throw the ends of the stems away, but I'm not going to be picky about taking the leaves off and such. So we have all that. I'm going to put some of this kale in there. And again, I'm going to cut that up really small. So it's almost like it's not even there. But we still get all of the great nutrients in there. And I don't know if you saw what I did just before, but if you massage kale before you eat it, it makes it a lot less tough for chewing and such. Obviously this kale is chopped pretty darn small, but if you're cooking kale at all, you want to massage it before you do anything. And you can even eat it raw that way. Okay. Got our kale in there. This is going to be super healthy, my goodness. Okay, and now our lime. I am of the opinion that most people don't give their salsa a good chance because they don't add the citrus. The citrus gives it such a pleasant zing, not to mention it is also good for you. And if you had any tiny cuts on your hands and you didn't know they were there, you're about to discover them. So we have our lime juice, we have our greens, we have all of our vegetables in there. One more ingredient that is also pretty critical is seasoning. Now, people can add all their own seasonings that they like, if they like coriander or cumin or even a little nutmeg if you wanted to. I'm just going to use salt and pepper. And I'm going to be semi-generous with the salt. If you had to measure it, I would probably say maybe like a full teaspoon, not even. And then just going to send it to the moon. And now the final part is a taste test. And it helps to get a second opinion because as you make the salsa, if you have to taste it more than once, you'll get kind of desensitized to the changes you make. If you're needing to add more and more salt, you're going to be more accustomed to it, so you need someone else to come in and say, whoa, that's enough salt. Take it easy. But that tastes fantastic. And that little jalapeno was just the right amount of spice. God, that's good. So that's it. And now you have, well, I guess that's more than 2 people. We eat a lot of salsa, so it might be more than 2 people for you, but one other thing that I wanted to mention is a balance of flavor here. That citrus is going to give us a nice sour zing. The tomatoes are going to give us a little sweetness, and the onion will give us a little sweetness and tartness. We have the garlic, which is very umami, very flavorful. And then we have the salt. So when you're building your salsa, think, am I tasting everything in balance? And when you think that way, your things are going to come out tasting a lot better. I hope this was helpful for you. Enjoy your salsa.